guys, we're back home and we're doing our schoolwork. See, we're homeschooling here at the house. I'm going to talk to you about a couple other things that I learned on this trip, which was really interesting. And we're happy we're home, but we want to be on the road again. So it was a little crazy coming back because there was a lot to do when we got back. We were tired because we did so many things on this trip, but we had a great time. And it really
even though we mostly spend time in the pool.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time in the pool. We really missed having a pool. So we're vlogging today because we're bored. Well, he's doing schoolwork, but my uncle seems really happy when we got back. He was tired when he got back, but he really did well on this trip, right? He did really well. I mean, the first day he was a little bit disoriented, I think, because with all the stuff going on, there was a lot, and I think he gets more depressed because he can't help me and he sees me doing everything by myself, and I think it depresses him as a male because he's always been a hard worker and he always does everything and he wants to be able to help, but he can't physically anymore.
He thinks that he's in his 50s.
He thinks he's in his 60s. He thinks he's in his 60s. Yeah, he thinks he's 62 for some reason. He says he's 62. So so anyway, the day of his birthday, we didn't make a big deal about it because, I mean, we did tell him in the morning was his birthday, and he did get watery. His eyes got watery when he said, how old am I? And I said 88. He thinks he's 62. Well, I feel bad. I don't know if he got watery because he realized he was 88 and not 62, right? Because for some reason he thinks he's still 62. But anyway, but he was happy. I mean, the first couple of days he was a little bit rigid because that's the way he is. He's just very controlled and observant of everything, it's like, that kind of person. And but he actually let go a lot. He was really happy. It was good to see him smiling and happy and alert. He was very alert. Like, I thought when I put him in the pool where the Chase lounge is, the lounge, I thought he was just gonna sleep there all day because that's what he does at home. He just sits like either in the porch or in the recliner. He just sits all day, and that's what I thought he was going to do most of the time. But he was alert the whole time. He was looking at people and he was observing. He was listening to them. I'm excited to go again because I think it's good for him to get him out of the house in April. So I have something exciting to tell you guys because, in June we're going to Gainesville. So that'll be fun. I can do, and I'll remind you, I am traveling with an older person. So there's a lot of things right now in my life that I can't do. On this particular trip that we took to Clermont, I had on my list ATV ride. There's an awesome ATV ride. It's a little expensive, on the expensive side, but it's an experience with me and my son that I would have loved to have, but right now I couldn't do it because he can't do it, and I can't leave him sitting for 2 hours in somebody's office while I'm out there on an ATV ride. So that was something that I had to compromise on this trip, but that's okay because I'm sure in the future Christian and I can do that. And the other thing that we also needed to cancel was the archery. We also had planned archery for the Clermont trip, and we couldn't do that because we realized on this trip that we had too many things planned, and we couldn't travel the way that we used to travel. We used to travel where we would just do things at spur of the moment, and that's not going to happen anymore right now. So we have to do a lot of planning, and we have to give a day for rest because he gets tired. It's a lot of stimulation, a lot of activity, a lot of changes to his routine. And I mean,
like if you just go to Walmart, he's pooped up.
Yeah, he'll get pooped up for anything. And then if it's too much stuff, he might have get spontaneous diarrhea when they're just like everything's out of control. It's the thing, or the normal thing in life. So I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. So anyway, so we want to avoid those things. So we decided that for now on, when we travel, we're gonna do one day of and you can't do like there was one day we did 2 or 3 activities at once in one day, and that's a lot. So you want to do one day to just kind of relax. So on the next trip we'll probably do 1 day on and 1 day that we're kind of either lingering at a pool or maybe doing some hiking if there's paved trails or something like that. I mean, the hardest thing that I had on this trip, I think, was the wheelchair situation when we got to the blueberry farm, because where I parked the truck, it was all there was a lot of mud there, and the wheelchair would get stuck.
There was no mud. There was only sand.
There was sand, but it was sand, but there was also a part there when we got to the top where he had to get up and walk because there was mud. Remember, there were tracks. That's where the hay rides were coming in and out of. So there was, but oh, that's the other thing I wanted to tell you. When you go to the if you go to the blueberry farm, you need to wear closed shoes because there seems to be a lot of ash there for some reason. I don't know if they put ash there. They spread their or ash. I think in farming people spread ash, but it's very black. And my feet were black. A lot of people were.
That never happened to me, and I was wearing open shoes.
Yes, your feet were dirty. His feet were dirty. And then we had to go out. We went to the citrus tower. Or no, where did we go after that? Oh, I had to go to Publix. I had to go Publix and get whipped cream for dessert that night, so we can eat our blueberries. And I had to go to Publix with dirty feet. That was not a good thing, but what can you do? But I did wipe them off with. This is just dust, so you just kind of wipe them off and do the best that you can. So it was $32 worth of blueberries, and what I thought was I was going to freeze them. And I was going to do a tip on how I freeze my blueberries and my fruits. But they were so delicious and so sweet. I said, I'm not freezing this because if you freeze them, they're going to lose flavor. We ate, in a week, we ate blueberries like morning, noon, and night. And it was delicious. And they were just spectacular. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the RV kitchen. RV kitchen needs to be organized. And I have to do some organization there because I was not really well prepared with my RV kitchen. Mostly because when I put the RV in the carport, remember what that happened to me was that I parked it too close to the edge, and now my door swings up like that, and I couldn't prepare my RV kitchen for this trip. So it was really very, very disorganized. So that's something that I have to work on because I like things to be simple and easy, and if it's complicated, I get frustrated, and I don't like that. So the first couple of days I was a little bit annoyed because there was a lot of things that shouldn't be happening with the park, I felt, but we're just coming out of the season, and I think a lot of parks, when they're coming out of that busy season, they're kind of taking a breath from things, and maybe they let go of some of the employees there, so things get a little bit behind. I just think that some things get unnoticed, like, you know, the situation where with the handicap spot. I was particularly annoyed with that situation with the handicap because we do have and you have to be, because we have a lot of veterans who fought in the war in this country who did a great service for us, and a lot of them are disabled, and they're traveling in RVs and camper vans, and they're traveling and they want to have a good time. And you know, if these parks have the facilities for them, then they have to put importance on it, and they have to be able to provide it to these people when they come there. That if you go to Clarebrook, it's a really nice park. We loved it. We definitely go back there again because it's really close to everything in the area. You'll have everything there, but yet you're in a rural setting. So if you like quiet and private, if you like to be away from traffic and things like that, if you want to be near B's RV and you can't get a reservation there, you're just up the road from there. I mean, you can even go there and eat, and you don't have to be at B's to eat. The spaces are wide. There's lots of pools there. There's golfing there. There's shuffleboard. I mean, they keep it neat and clean. It's very peaceful, very tranquil.
The spaces are very tight.
Though the spaces are not that tight. I've been to tighter places, but they were comfortable. It was. Keep in mind that if you are traveling with somebody who's handicapped to this particular park, you're gonna want to park. You're gonna ask for site 730. That is the most convenient site at this park. It is handicapped. You will probably have to show your handicap certificate from your car in order to reserve it, because it's right near the clubhouse, and I'm pretty sure you can get Wi-Fi from that spot. And it's big, and you can have a car. You don't have to have, in other words, my truck, I have to park it in front like most people do. But with this particular spot, you can actually park your car right beside the door of the car so that the person can get out and go right into the RV. So it's really convenient for that. That's why it's a wide space there. So if you're going to Clearbrook and you do need a handicap spot, they do have that at Passport America site at the Passport America price, and it's site number 730. Ask for that. You might, if you if you are traveling with somebody handicapped, you may need to have a reservation, because if it's already reserved, you're not going to get it. So keep that in mind. If you're traveling with somebody and there are handicap spots in a certain location, you may just have to make a reservation, or call in the morning on your way there and say, I'm on my way there and I need this spot. So with that said, oh, I wanted to tell you, so sneak peek into the future. After June, when we come back from Gainesville, we will be planning to travel to Miami, because my uncle has to get some medical checkups, and his doctor is still down there. So I waited until he gets all his annuals and all his stuff done before I decide whether I'm going to change his medical plan. So we're going to do that in July. And then, cross my fingers, we are planning to go to the Keys, the Florida Keys. Actually, my mom lives in Miami. So I'm going to be boondocking there. So I'll show you what I do when I boondock on the street. It's actually on the street. And then we are going to be traveling to the Keys, and I can't wait, because I've rented cottages at the Keys, but I've never been there with an RV. My uncle, it was a big fishing fan, and I have, like, I don't know how many fishing rods I have in my shed from his house that I have to detangle because they're all tangled. I love fishing. I really love fishing, but I don't like getting sun. So if the boat is open, I like to have some shade. That's my problem with fishing. I'll fish for 2 hours in the sun, but I do want some shade, because in Florida it's very hot. So I'm like, I would love fishing in Alaska or something like that. That's ultimately my goal, is to go to Alaska and go fishing in Alaska. And fly fishing, right? We want to do fly fishing? I'm dying to do fly fishing. That's one of the things that I have on my bucket list to do in the future. So stay tuned for that, because someday, at some time, we will be fly fishing. We're excited. I can't wait. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. Say bye. I'll do it. Peace out. I don't have to do it for him. Peace out.